Hello, my name is Adelia Agustin. With my last student number is 046.
My name is Putri Nur Oktariani and my student number is 035.
My name is Tanisari Putri and my student number is 006.
My name is Deriska Vladinda and my student number is 060-1128-222-7050.
My name is Medidiana Hadunisa with last student number 008.
Hello everyone, we are from Group 4. Today we would like to explain that our material is about introduction to morphological rules and the hierarchical structure of words. My name is Tanisari Putri and my student number is 006. And now I will explain the definitions of morphological rules, their functions, and provide an examples of a suffix rule. Alright, the definitions of morphological rules. Morphological rules determines how morphemes, the smallest units of meaning in a language, combine to form new words. And the functions. These rules help create different word forms and meanings by combining morphemes. For example, adding a prefix or suffix to a root word can change its meaning or grammatical category. Examples of a suffix rule. The suffix able is added to verb to form adjectives that means able to be. Verb add. Accept plus able. Acceptable. Its meaning able to be accepted. Enjoy plus able. Enjoyable. Its meaning able to be enjoyed. The role of prefixes. Apart from suffixes, prefixes also play an important role in morphological rules. A prefix is added to the beginning of a word to alter its meaning. For example, the prefix "an" can be added to adjectives to give the meaning of not. Happy plus "an", unhappy. Its meaning not happy. Believable plus "an", unbelievable. Its meaning not believable. Alright, the types of morphemes. Morphemes can be free or bound. A free morpheme is one that can stand alone as a word, like book or run. A bound morpheme, on the other hand, cannot stand alone and must be attached to another morpheme to have meaning, like the suffix able in enjoyable. Inflectional versus derivational morphemes. We can also divide morphemes into inflectional and derivational categories. Inflectional morphemes modify a word stance, number, or aspect without changing its core meaning or part of speech. For example, walk becomes walks to show a change in number. On the other hand, derivational morphemes change the word's meaning or grammatical category. For instance, adding able to enjoy changes the verb into adjective, creating enjoyable. Allomorphs. Sometimes morphemes can appear in different forms, called allomorphs, depending on the surrounding sounds or the word they attach to. For example, the plural morphemes as has different pronunciations in cats, dogs, and buses. These changes are still governed by morphological rules, but they adjust based on the phonological and environment. Productivity of morphological rules. Some morphological rules are very productive, meaning they can be applied to many words, while others are more limited. The rule for adding "er" to verbs to form nouns, meaning one who does the actions, is highly productive. For example, teach becomes teacher, run becomes runner, and drive becomes driver. This rule can apply to a wide variety of verbs in English. Alright, I think that's all from me. The next part of presentations will be explained by my friends.
Hello, my name is Adelia Agustin, with my Lustre number is 046. In this video, I will be explaining about negation with prefixes, focusing on one of the most commonly used prefixes in the English language. It's about the prefix an. This prefix is frequently used to create the opposite or negative form of adjectives and sometimes verbs. So, what is prefix an? The prefix an is a negative prefix that, when attached to adjective, typically creates their opposite meaning. For example, friendly becomes unfriendly. Happy becomes unhappy. The process of adding an to these words is called affixation, where a prefix is attached to a root word. In this case, an is attached to the adjective root to form its negation. So, how does an work? The prefix an is very productive, meaning it can be freely applied to many adjectives to create opposite forms. This is one of the reasons why an is so common in English. According to linguistic research by Platt 2003, this is because native speakers can easily use an with new words they encounter, which helps the language grow and adapt. For example, kind becomes unkind. Lucky becomes unlucky. These examples show how native speakers naturally understand that adding an changes the meaning of the adjective to its opposite. Okay, next, let's talk about the prefix an and verbs. In addition to adjectives, an can also be used with verbs. However, when it's applied to verbs, it often means to reverse an action rather than simply creating an opposite meanings. For example, tie becomes untie, reversing the action of tying. And then wrap becomes unwrap, reversing the action of wrapping. This difference in behavior show how an can serve different functions depending on the type of words it's attached to. Next, about unpredictable uses of an. Most of the time, an follows a predictable patterns, but there are some exceptions. For example, unloosen, which means to loosen, not to tighten. And then unwrap, which means to undo something that's been wrapped. These examples show that not all uses of an follow the typical rule. This irregularity happens because language evolves over time and not all words follow logical patterns. Though an is the most common negative prefix, English also has several other prefixes for creating negative form, such as in, non, and this. For example, in for incomplete, non for non-existent, and this for disagree. However, these prefixes are more restricted in their usage compared to an, which can be applied more freely. So, in conclusion, the prefix an plays a significant role in English word formation, particularly when it comes to negating adjectives and reversing action in verbs. While the majority of words formed with an follow predictable patterns, there are some irregularities, making it a fascinating part of English morphology. This flexibility and productivity are what make an such a widely used prefix in everyday language. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Putri Nur Oktariani and my student number is 035. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the rules in English morphology, which is how we can change verbs into nouns by adding the suffix and or. This rule is a very common and useful in English when we want to describe someone or something that does an action. Okay, let's start with the basic idea. In English, when we have a verb, we can add the suffix er or to the end of the verb to create a noun. The noun that we make usually refers to a person or thing that does the action of the verb. Okay, for example, from the verb analyze, we can make analyzer, which means a person who analyzes. Or from the verb drive, we get a driver, which means a person who drives. The suffix is a very productive, which means we can use it with many verbs to create new nouns. Here are a few more examples. The first is predict becomes predictor, someone who predicts. Pay becomes payer, someone who pays. Teach becomes teacher, someone who teaches. We can see that this pattern is used in many different situations. For example, in the world of work or education, words like teacher or farmer describe people's jobs based on the action they do every day. The great thing about this rule is that it's easy and flexible. Almost any verb can be turned into a noun by just adding er and or. This helps us build new words and makes it easier to describe people or things that do actions. You will also see the or suffix in more formal words like reader or actor. To sum up, the rule of adding er and or to verbs to make nouns is one of the most useful and simple rules in English. It allows us to quickly understand who or what is doing an action, and it helps us to create new words easily. Alright, thank you for your attention, and I hope this explanation helps you understand this important part of English morphology.
Hello, my name is Hierarchical and my student number is 060-1128-222-7050. Now, I would like to explain about the hierarchical structure of words. So, what is the hierarchical structure of words? The hierarchical structure of words refers to the way words are systematically built from smaller parts, following a step-by-step process of affix attachment. This structure shows that how prefixes and suffixes are added to the basic parts of words called roots or stems. It is forming more complex words while following specific rules based on word types, such as verbs, nouns, or adjectives. When making a complex word with more than one prefix or one suffix, they do not all attach at the same time. Instead, each one is added one by one in a specific order that matches the rule for the word types. This order ensures the word is correct and fits into the right category, like changing a verb into an adjective. When we look at words composed of two morphemes, typically a stem or root, and an affix such as prefix or suffix, there are two main principles guiding on how these affixes attach to the roots or to the stems. The first one is affixes attached to the specific word classes. Affixes are small word parts added to the beginning prefix or end suffix of a base word. Affixes are selective about which stems they can attach to. For example, the suffix able can only attach to verbs, forming adjective like adjustable from the verb adjust. It cannot attach to adjective like happy or nouns like success. When affixes are added to stems or roots, the resulting word must fit into a specific word class. For example, when able is added to a verb, the resulting word is an adjective like adjustable, breakable, and debatable are all adjectives, even though they start as verbs. The second is words are formed step by step. Words are formed in steps. An affix attaches to a complete word or morpheme, which can be a free morpheme or a morphologically complex word. Complex words with multiple affixes are not formed by stringing all affixes together at once. Instead, one affix attaches first to create a new form, which then serves as the base for the addition of subsequent affixes. For example, the word unusable. The word unusable is created by first adding the suffix able to the verb use, forming the word usable, and then the prefix un is added to usable, and it becomes the word unusable. So, words are built by adding affixes one step at a time. A tree diagram will help show this process clearly, and my friend will explain about the tree diagram.
My name is Meridiana Hadunisa with student number 008. In this material, there are three main terms that you should know: root, stem, and word. The root is a non-affix lexical content morpheme which cannot be further broken down into smaller parts. The stem is a combination of a root and an affix. Meanwhile, the word is the final form in morphological process. Words, since they are formed in steps and have a special hierarchical structure, this structure can be represented schematically by means of a tree, which indicates the steps involved in the formation of the word, showing which morphemes are joined together first, and so on. Indeed, if we have a simple word that only consists one morpheme, we cannot draw a tree to represent it. However, if we have a complex word that contains more than one morpheme, then finally we can draw a tree to see the morphological structure. Now I'll give you an example with the word unusable. The tree would look like this. The first step that we should take is to add the suffix able and the prefix un after that. So here are the steps. Use plus able is usable, and then un plus usable is unusable. Unusable is an adjective. It contains the prefix un and adjective stem that contains root, use, and the able as suffix. The adjective stem is the basic part of adjective that show its main meaning. Another example is the word unsystematically, which is composed of 5 morphemes: un, system, attic, li. The hierarchical structure of this word can be diagrammed as below. First is system plus attic is systematic, and then un plus systematic is unsystematic. Unsystematic plus L is unsystematical. And finally, unsystematical plus li is unsystematically. Okay, so the root is system, and it is a noun. If we add attic, it becomes an adjective. After that, we add the prefix un, we form a new adjective stem unsystematic. However, if we add the prefix un first, we will derive a noun word unsystem. Unsystem is not a possible word. because the rule of the English that allows "an" to be added to nouns is restricted to a few cases, and those are usually nouns that already have a suffix, such as unemployment or unacceptance. Okay, so since the prefix "an" cannot be added to nouns, that's why we need to add the adjectival suffix "al" to derive the stem unsystematical. Finally, the adverb suffix "li" is added to derive the adverb unsystematically. So okay everyone, that's all from our group. Thank you so much for watching and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye!